When I was a youngster, I was raised in Tule Lake, California, and a machinist friend of mine, Red Butler, he's like a second father to me, drove this 1942 Dodge Carryall WC53. Always liked that rig. That was when I was growing up, and in 2007, Patty and I grabbed one from Michigan. It was all in restored radio attire and put a few upgrades on it. And in 2009, I said, we need to use this old girl. And I called Red up and said, Red, let's go cut Christmas trees this year. He was 82 then. He goes, by God, we'll do her. He got to ride my Carryall then, and with my son Kevin, that was just a treat. And Red passed away that next summer, and we've named the Red's Run Christmas Tree Runs now, our Christmas Tree Rendezvous Run, Red's Run. And this year, this December of 2022, it'll be run number 14. So when I saw Red's old Dodge, I did a little bit of homework and research on those old Dodges, the Carryall specifically. And 1942, there were 8,400 of them made, kind of 41, 42-ish. All my titles, I had 15 of them, all said 1942. And it was a radio truck for World War II. Man, they threw those girls together quickly, and it's amazing. They did that with slide rules and drafting, right, to make all the pieces and parts, and it all worked, and it was a tough old rig. And they went off to the war as a radio truck, and all American made in heavy steel. The thing weighs a little over 7,000 pounds, so it's built. That's kind of how the passion started. And a couple of years, it got some work done, then it sat around for another 10 years. So it was up there for about 12 years. Then the Hennessy fire came through August 17th of 2020. And by the way, I'd been collecting Carryalls, had 15 of them up there. Number one was the favorite, but we had 15 Carryalls. And then a good friend of mine, Marc Greeley, stepped up to the plate and said, let me help you get those out of there. I looked at number one, and I mean, it was devastated. The fire loss, you can see the fire burnt on it. It was missing the hood, fenders. Marc knew that I needed something to grab onto because I just retired and I needed to grab onto something. And Marc saw me floundering a bit and he goes, get down here. We're gonna fire up number one. I go, no way. And the engine hadn't been running 10 years. The gasoline was like mud. So I got down there, he put me in the driver's seat, a little ether, and that baby fired right up, and we shut it down to not do any damage to it. And he goes, we're gonna rebuild this one. I said, well, okay. When that engine fired up, it just got me fired up, and it gave me a purpose. So a year and a half later, it's restored. Marc was extremely gracious. He and his crew, Dave, Fernando, and Arnolfo, were on that thing every day. And I was down there once or twice a day. I got to shag parts from all over the country, and Marc was so gracious. He let me be part of the build. And they hadn't done any Carryalls before, so I got to be part of the intricacy as design and axles, housings, transfer cases, the winch, the interior, the tack, the interior, everything. And he was so good at that. And his guys are great, did a great job. And here we are, you know, a year and a half later, and she's on the road again. And I wanted a working Dodge, not a military version that we just look at. I want to use this girl. And so Patty was really gracious to help me out. And she named the old Dodge the Mountain Brumby, because that was part of the Man for Snowy River. And that was our theme song. And the Mountain Brumby's going downhill in the deep snow, you know, and there's the Dodge. So we embroidered seats with the Mountain Brumby as well as the outside. And some of the details that were done were incredible. The frame is just immaculate. It was all blasted and was painted and cleaned up, and it was straight as an arrow. We've got the welded cover front and rear axles, housings, and we've got 9 5/8 spring and pinions. We've got Brannick racing axles in the rear, RCV racing axles in the front, disc brakes at all 4 corners. We've got ARB air lockers with onboard air. Larry from Trail Ready helped us make the custom rims. They're aluminum, bead locks, super cool. Custom lug nuts, they look good. And they are so light. They help that little 230 get down the road with those 40s on it. And Red always had a tack in the center of his Dodge, old Motorola tack. So by Corky, we were going to get one of those too. So we put I found a vintage Motorola tack, rebuilt it. North Hollywood did a great job on that. And it's in there with a green backlight. It looks pretty cool. And Red's Carryall had spotlights and dual driving lights and backup lights, and mine does too. It's a kick. Can't wait to take it on Red's Run this year, number 14. up at Medicine Lake, cut some trees down and drive in the deep powder snow. Red would really be proud. And in our videos, we have an ending tagline that's in living memory of Red Butler, and his memory lives on. Every time I get in that Dodge, I think of him, and I can smell the gear oil, and it's just a real pleasure and a thrill to pay him back as a tribute for what he did for me in my life and his mentorship. And he was a machinist and with excellence, and he was proud of it. It just as this Dodge makes me proud to be an American and what it means and how these people put these things together. And it's just a real thrill to get in that Dodge. Every time I climb in the seat, I think of Red and his memory and what he did for me as a young lad when I was growing up. And thanks for all you've done for me as a mentor, and we'll keep this Dodge and your memory alive.